Today is Sunday, September the 25th, 2022, and we're going deer hunting. This is my first opportunity to go deer hunting this season. Bow season just opened yesterday here in Arkansas. Couldn't make it out yesterday, but I've got some time available today. It's hot. It's right at 90 degrees, but the wind has shifted to the north, from the north. So I can now hunt this spot where the top deer on my hit list have been showing up fairly regularly. Last week was a slow week for daytime pictures for actually the first time all summer, and I think that was just because it's so hot and it's getting later in the year. But it's a little bit cooler right now than what it was then, and the wind has shifted and puts things in my favor a little bit more. And so we've got the evening free, so I'm gonna get out here and try to sneak into this deer stand and we'll see what happens. You never know until you get out there and try it, but I feel like we can hunt this spot and get in and out without bumping anything and play it pretty safe and not hurt anything for this hunt, even if nothing shows up. So we'll go give it a try, and we'll bring you along for the journey and show you what happens. I'm all settled in. It's a little before 5 o'clock. I don't know if you can hear, but there's a guy bush hogging just on the other side of the fence from me. So I'm not sure if that's gonna mess anything up, but I got in clean out here, and I think I can get out clean unless there's something that walks right by when I'm getting out. Got a good wind though, and so I think it hurts anything to sit out here, but he's close enough. I could see, the wind's blowing pretty good, but I could see dust coming across the fence, and every once in a while I could smell hydraulic fluid and burnt diesel. So I haven't seen him. He's not that close, but we still got just under 3 hours till dark. So if he quits and these temperatures drop, he could get right pretty quick. Okay, well, obviously, I think you could tell, even though it was 90 degrees outside, it cooled down a little bit and the deer started moving. It was an awesome hunt, probably my best early season hunt ever. That one deer, well, first of all, there's two, I guess, adult does that came out, and then that fawn came out like at 6:09, somewhere around there. And they kind of milled around a little bit. A dog started barking on the other side of the fence, way off in the distance. That spooked them. They ran off behind me. That's how I know that I didn't spook them. And then, yeah, that wide 8-point that came out, he was out there forever. He was a deer that I named Robin. And I named him Robin because he's almost always, at least through the summer, with a bigger deer that I call Batman, who is like number 2 on the hit list for the year. But obviously Robin came out for quite a while and just fed by himself, bedded down for a while, which was really cool. He was 45 yards away when he bedded down. And then right before last light, I just look up and here comes a big bodied deer, and I thought that's got to be one of the big bucks. And sure enough, it was Batman. And he walked up, and I don't know if I got any footage of it, but with like 15 minutes of legal shooting time left, a 4-wheeler comes driving through the woods on the other side of the property and drives like right up to the fence, like right close to me, which, I mean, you could say it's my fault for hunting near a property line anyway, but I've got this giant lane that's on my side of the fence that I can hunt, and so for hunting reasons, it just makes sense to hunt there where I can see such a long ways. And so they came up there, and I'm looking at Batman, who is 80 yards away, and Robin stands up and he's like 50 yards away. And then the guy just on the 4-wheeler turns and just drives off. Never knew I was there. I don't even know if he knows that there's a feeder there and that I'm hunting and all that stuff. And so he leaves, and like a minute after he leaves, Batman just like makes a beeline for the feeder. But, you know, I mean, he's walking fairly steady, but you know how bucks do. They're still somewhat cautious. So he's walking and stopping and walking and stopping, and he gets to like 35 yards out. And with this crossbow, I had a new string put on it. We got it dialed in. Like, I shot out the center of paper at 30 yards the other day with these new fixed blade broadheads. So I'm like, I know I can shoot him at 30. 35 would be just a touch high. So I think I could do that. But he was back there, and I was like, no, he's looking at that feeder. He's going to come in. And sure enough, but he wasted a lot of time. So I had like 3 minutes of legal shooting time left. He comes up to the feeder. So he's 28 yards away or so. I get my camera going. I could barely make out the outline of him on there. I get safety off on this crossbow. I'm squeezing the trigger. Then all of a sudden he just jumps back to 35 yards. I'm like, what is going on? And he's not broadside. And then he finally turns and gets broadside. And at this point, the camera is pitch black. I can't see anything on there. And so he turns, takes a few steps. I was like, okay, he's got to be at 30. He's broadside, maybe slightly quarter to. I look down at my watch, and it's like the last minute of legal shooting time. And I was like, okay, we got to make this happen now. And so I turned on, I got a little light on that scope. And so I turned it on just to illuminate the dots, put the second one like right at his front shoulder since he's barely quartering to me. And I'd squeeze off a shot, and it felt good. It looked good. You know, of course, there's a little bit of that recoil from the crossbow. And I saw, like, through the scope, whenever it shot, I saw sparks fly everywhere, but I heard a loud thump, and whenever I looked up, the deer was still coming down from the mule kick. And then he ran into the fence and ran into it a couple times and finally took off, went through it. So he's in a cattle pasture out there somewhere. Didn't see him or hear him go down because everything was just crazy, but I feel pretty good about it. So I'm going to get I got to get some better lighting. I'm going to call in a buddy, see if he can help, and we'll pick up in a little bit on the trail. But to say this has been an adventure already is an understatement, and I'm hoping that this is just the beginning of what's going to unfold tonight. So here we go. All right, so after the shot, we waited a while. I called in reinforcements. I got some better lighting and followed the blood trail. Ended up going on the neighbor's property, so we ended up backing up and going around and driving up to their house. And after a little bit of awkward conversation, they gave us permission to drive in the pasture behind their house and look. And we drove out there, and it was crazy. We got out there and ended up parking 30 yards from the deer, and so we found it, and it was just really cool. Got to meet a nice neighbor, and here it is. This is the deer that we called Batman. So 1 for 1 in hunts in this deer season. Number 2 on the hit list for the year, and so it's going to be hard to top this, but we still got a whole season to go. So stay tuned and join us for the next Arkansas adventure.
Ba-da-da. Ba-da-da.